Leaning, leaning, leaning.
This is where I first heard him preach. I was 8. Dad had just become a pastor. When I was born, he was a van driver, and before that, a soldier in the war. I knew him as a man of faith he passed on to his children. We said our prayers every night. He taught us the Bible. In our house we believed it all, even Jonah and the whale. I listened to hundreds of his sermons, but one stood out. It was when he told the story of being a prisoner of war in Germany. He didn't preach, he just spoke. After he died, I discovered a diary of his war days, which told the same story. I was in my 30s by then. In these pages I met a frightened young prisoner of war in place of the strong, wise father speaking from the pulpit, where I was on the edge of my seat as he described his march across Germany. It was February, and at night he slept out in 3 feet of snow. Each morning, one of his pals was found frozen to death. On the 5th day, Dad knew he would join them if he slept out again. He heard a voice urging him to pray. Although he'd rarely prayed since leaving home, the voice nagged him all morning. At lunchtime, he gave in and knelt by the roadside and asked for somewhere to sleep under cover that night. They went on marching till after dark. The column kept stopping, and men were diverted off the road and out of sight. Finally, his section was led off down a lane. At the end, a barn full of hay, and that's where they slept. Another 28 days of marching stretched ahead of them. Each one ended with a place to sleep. Today my mind still goes back to when I first heard how hundreds of soldiers slept under cover for a month because of one man's prayer. It's probably the reason I still believe in the power of prayer.
Leaning, leaning, leaning on the everlasting arms.